to add to that picture of volatility,
Yeah.
when you look at the 52-week range for ICCT,
Yeah.
it's gone from as low as 11.7 cents all the way up to $5.36.
Wow.
So that alone is like a huge red flag that this is a really risky stock.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when we see that kind of volatility,
Mm-hmm.
it's really important to kind of understand what's driving it.
Yeah.
And, in this case, it's not entirely clear.
Right.
There was a filing back in February that indicated that the company was intending to sell more shares.
Right.
And there was also a reverse stock split that happened back in December.
Mm-hmm.
And while they did report, some revenue growth in the third quarter of 2024,
Right.
it doesn't seem like that fully explains this recent massive price increase.
No. I mean, almost 800% in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's really hard to justify that.
Yeah.
Based on, the fundamentals of the company.
And, this is something that we always tell our listeners, that don't get caught up in the hype.
Right.
Sometimes a huge gain that doesn't seem to be tied to any real news should actually be a warning sign.
A huge red flag.
Yeah.
Because it suggests there's something else going on.
Yeah.
It could be speculation. It could be manipulation. There could be a number of factors at play, but it's just a sign that you need to be extra cautious.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so why don't we move on to our fourth company,
Okay.
which is NMAX, NMAX.
All right.
And this is a really interesting one because they just went public.
Oh, wow.
So their IPO took place on March 31st, 2025.
Okay.
And it opened for trading at $14 a share. And then it closed on that very first day at $83.51.
Wow.
So that is a massive first-day jump.
It is. And, IPOs can be really exciting.
Yeah.
There's often a lot of hype surrounding them.
Right.
And, in this case with NMAX, it's a well-known brand.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a strong following.
Right.
And so it's not surprising that there's a lot of interest in the IPO.
And I think it also speaks to, the broader trend that we're seeing with media companies right now where, there's this increasing appetite for, very niche types of content.
Absolutely. People are really looking for, content that aligns with their values, their beliefs, their interests.
Right.
And, NMAX has definitely carved out a niche for itself in that space.
And it doesn't look like that momentum is slowing down because as of April 1st, the stock price was actually up to $138.98.
So it's still climbing.
Yeah. So it's more than doubled since it closed on March 31st.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. It really speaks to, the level of enthusiasm that's out there.
It does. And, it's also important to note that because this is a newly public company,